So this is why markets have been acting, well, crypto markets have been more subdued than people expect. And we'll come onto that in a second as well.
And I do think that the ISO 2022 standard and Swift messages are the building blocks.
Dominic Williams, where the first mainstreaming is coming mid-October. Welcome back. This is Elliot from the Early Stage Investor. Our mission is life-changing returns. And so we've been covering some of the most revolutionary assets on the planet on this channel. And we've also been covering the timeline of the upcoming bull market. All signs are leading to the peak of the bull market being somewhere in the middle of 2026. That's based on liquidity. That's based on money flows. That's based on money printing. Crypto is very correlated to that. And what we've been trying to convey on this channel is the highest quality, most undiscovered, highest upside altcoins on the planet are correlated right now to a nosediving crypto market, just tanking, right? This chart shows crypto total market cap excluding top 10 dominance. So this was the top of the last bull market. Look at where we are now. We had a little pump at the end of 2024. Look at where we are now. It's been absolutely horrendous for some of these altcoins. So what that tells us is that the tens of thousands of crypto assets are essentially all trading together. They're all suppressed. And so if you want to know when these assets are going to skyrocket and provide those life-changing returns, well, we have to know when the rest of the crypto market is going to turn around. And a lot of that is based on liquidity. So we've been staying on top of what Raoul Pal has been saying, because he looks at liquidity, money flows, money printing by government, everything that's correlated to these assets. And he tries to time it. And in this video, he talks about why the banana zone alt season has been so delayed. It has nothing to do with whether or not your crypto asset is bad, right? We've been covering how revolutionary assets like ICP and Chainlink truly are. It has nothing to do with the fundamentals. Just like poor price action of Bitcoin had nothing to do with its fundamentals, poor price action of Ethereum, Cardano, had nothing to do with their fundamentals when they experience winters in like 2020, 2019. It had nothing to do with the fundamentals. They ended up providing life-changing returns because the macro situation changed and the liquidity situation changed. So that's what we try to stay on top of. We're also going to stay on top of some revolutionary updates for ICP and Chainlink later in this video. But first, let's look at what Raoul Pal is saying about the timing of the next bull run. It's frustrating. It's been delayed. Has it been delayed indefinitely, forever? We'll find out.
So recently we noticed that, hey, the ISM, and you've heard Julian and I not struggling, but trying to understand, okay, what's changed in our framework? Our job is to understand and double test our framework at all points. So when something major is changing, which was the ISM not fitting the 4-year perfect sine wave, we started thinking, what's going on here? The ISM is more subdued than it has been ever.
So this chart shows why the 4-year cycle didn't work, because every single other previous cycle we had the ISM, which we've proved exhaustively on this channel, how the ISM is so correlated to altcoin performance. Well, here we see the ISM in black pumping every single time we had a massive bull market in crypto. Look at what it's done since 2021. It's cratered and it's been flat. That's why your altcoins have been down. And look at how different that is than any time in the last 15 or so years, right? This is why the 4-year cycle hasn't worked. This is why you're disappointed with your crypto. This is why most people will be shaken out before the massive move up. Sell your crypto right now is to say the ISM is never going to recover, and we'll see why it most likely will.
So when something major is changing, which was the ISM not fitting the 4-year perfect sine wave, we started thinking, what's going on here? The ISM is more subdued than it has been ever. And we found out that the debt had been moved in 2021-22 because interest rates went basically back to zero. They managed to extend the curve by issuing further out, and they extended the debt maturity from 4 and a bit years to 5.4 years, creating a new longer cycle. Now, we don't know what length the next cycle is. It depends on where they refinance this entire cycle at. But right now, we know we've probably got an ISM and a business cycle that extends well into late 2026, and that will affect asset prices. So this is why markets have been acting, well, crypto markets have been more subdued than people expect. And we'll come onto that in a second as well. The other thing is interest rates. Interest rates haven't needed to yet come lower, but now we're seeing the urgency from Scott Bessent, who understands the everything code, and Steve Mirren, and Trump all saying we need to get rates lower. Why? Because we've got $9 trillion of debt to roll over the next 12 months. It's this 12 months that is the key to everything. It's this 12 months where maximum money printing comes.
So Raoul and I are on the exact same page. He seemed to think previously that interest rates were going to come down quickly. And I was saying, let's just watch, because the 10-year bond yield was super sticky high. But the fact is, interest rates have suppressed the ISM. They have suppressed altcoins. What he's saying is that the US government is doing everything in their power to figure out a way to lower interest rates. And what we've been covering in the last 2 videos at least is how they're gonna be able to stimulate. They haven't really done that much yet, but we have the midterm elections coming up next year. We have the need for them to refinance a whole bunch of their debt. So they are desperate. We have Jerome Powell. This is the biggest factor. We have Jerome Powell scheduled to leave the Federal Reserve in May 2026. So the market's going to be priced, and guess what's going to happen then? Trump is going to replace him with someone who will essentially do what Trump wants. What does Trump want? He wants them to crater interest rates. And like we talked about in last week's video, what they're going to do this time is let inflation run hot and try to outgrow inflation. Because what they're trying to do with these interest rates being high is stifle inflation. If the oxygen of the financial system, the cost to borrow, is high, then prices stay low. But what they want to do is crater interest rates, let prices rise, let growth rise even higher. That means insane growth in stocks, in crypto, in altcoins, in liquidity. So we're very close to a massive bull market. We're very close to the highest quality assets on the planet, the biggest communities, ICP, Chainlink. We're very close to those being totally discovered. It's just a matter of time. So it really doesn't get bigger than this. It really doesn't. We're trying to make life-changing returns. That's what we talk about on this channel. So first we'll talk about Chainlink, right? Why will this be one of the assets that absolutely skyrockets? Because the fundamentals are ridiculous. Here's Sergey Nazarov talking to the Chief Innovation Officer at Swift. Swift is an organization of 11,000 banks. I don't think the human mind can understand how big 11,000 banks truly is, but it's enormous. That's how big Swift is. And obviously Chainlink is deeply integrated with Swift.
I think the existing standards, like the Swift ISO 20022 standard, which now, thanks to our great work together, now has blockchain components to it and sections of the standard related to blockchain transactions. That's very exciting. And I do think that the ISO 20022 standard and Swift messages are basically the building blocks of a shared language in the current financial system. And I don't see any reason that shared language can't speak to blockchains, right? So that's kind of a core foundational idea that I think we've been working on and thinking about for a while.
So everyone talks about the ISO regulation, different ISO coins. Chainlink literally is working with Swift to determine what makes up an ISO coin. That's how big Chainlink is. It's massive. And it's not just data feeds, right? A lot of people think, oh, it's just an Oracle, right? We don't need oracles in the future. Even ICP people think we don't need Chainlink to provide Oracle services on ICP, and that's true. But Chainlink is doing a lot more than just being an Oracle. It's actually providing standards. Here's everything it's doing. Chainlink is just data feeds and data streams and smart data, proof of reserves and net asset value data, and cross-chain interoperability protocol. If you want to connect to Ethereum, Solana, Swift, JP Morgan, gonna have to use CCIP. Cross-chain tokens, cross-chain transfers, all this stuff. Digital transfer agent, Chainlink runtime environment, and more to come. Here are their partners: Aave, Compound. That's in decentralized finance, right? They own decentralized finance right now. Aave, Pendle, Jupiter, that's on Solana. Solve is Bitcoin. Then over to traditional finance, we have Swift, JP Morgan, UBS, MasterCard. Again, the entire world seems to be uniting behind using Chainlink. Really does get bigger than that. And what about ICP? ICP has a much lower market cap. ICP is more undiscovered. ICP is revolutionary technology. ICP is one of the biggest communities on the planet. ICP is a world computer. It's a supercomputer. Unlike anything else, you don't need big tech to use ICP. ICP is decentralized governance, so it can evolve. It's a DAO. It's super flexible. It just created a language that allows people to just speak software into existence. Here's the creator of ICP, Dominic Williams. One day, Wall Street will go on chain and DeFi will become mainstream fi. However, the first mainstreaming is coming mid-October. Caffeine AI will combine with blockchain cloud and ICP, producing a new self-writing tech stack where anyone can build anything on-chain through chat. I cannot wait for that to launch because I want to start building stuff. Everyone should want to start building stuff. Games, whatever. It's unlimited. We're going to see some serious real life hits coming out of caffeine. This has potential. These guys created an airport meetup app. It's endless what can be done. They're just unleashing human potential. And it's all taking place on chain, so as secure as you can possibly get. So how are we taking advantage of this, and how is the early stage investor community going to benefit ICP, but also benefit ourselves? Well, what the early stage investor Patreon community has actually done is take over a Solana crypto asset called WAGMI. We're all going to make it, right? The best message on the planet. Because a lot of people are shaken out, a lot of people are upset. If we can all agree that we're going to make it, then that is very positive. Here's the chart of our WAGMI token. Currently, the fully diluted valuation is something like 160K as of the recording of this video. So the Patreon community has bought in. Patreon revenues have also gone to buy in. What we're doing is rescuing some total scam token. We found the token that passes all the audits, that has a locked liquidity pool, that has a fixed supply, that is immutable, and we've taken it over. And it's on the Solana blockchain. And the liquidity pool, again, is locked. It includes Solana and it includes this token. So right now, the market cap is $160,000. Our plan is to get that a lot higher with unbelievable tokenomics, which again involve buying pressure from our community, from our Patreon revenues, which are growing. So why is this unlike any other asset on the planet? We're going to get to why this benefits ICP, but why is this unlike any other asset on the planet? Because you don't have massive insiders selling, right? There's a reason the chart looks so good, because there's no one left to dump on people. What is the biggest problem in crypto? Team members, early investors, dumping on people. It's the worst thing. That's why the best asset on the planet cannot do well, because you have people just dumping on each other. That's what Bitcoin is, right? You have people that own tens of thousands of Bitcoin just dumping on the Bitcoin community. They don't want to move the price too much, so they do it slowly, but it's why assets are suppressed. WAGMI is not suppressed by that. So what we're doing is absorbing total value locked on the Solana blockchain. Right now we're at 160. The goal is to get that much, much, much higher, and it's very possible because we don't have insiders dumping and we have upward buying pressure from the Patreon community, which is growing. And so the ultimate plan is to absorb as much Solana total value locked as possible and integrate this token onto the ICP platform. I think this is what's been missing from ICP, is like some partnership with other blockchains. But this is what makes me special, is I have a massive bag of ICP locked for 8 years. So I want it to grow as high as possible, as fast as possible. What is one way of doing that? It's by bringing a massive amount of Solana total value locked over into ICP and using it in various caffeine AI applications. So we have caffeine AI. We have a massive meme coin that's growing total value locked that doesn't have insiders dumping. And we have all that Solana total value locked growing. What if we can make this the biggest meme coin on ICP using Solana total value locked? Obviously, bringing that total value locked onto ICP, bringing utility onto ICP. If many people do this, this could be a game changer for ICP. Create big tokens using total value locked, absorbed on other blockchains, bridging it over to ICP, having it used on ICP, increasing cycle burns, forcing ICP to go deflationary, all with total value locked from another ecosystem. So that's what we're trying to do. Build one of the world's biggest meme coins using Solana, TVL, and liquidity, bringing it over to ICP, increasing ICP deflationary tokenomics, cycle burns, utility, and increasing ICP total value locked. So we're creating, again, an unbelievable asset, some of the hardest money on the planet, because we don't have people dumping it. It's locked, it's immutable, it's backed by a community, it's backed by revenues. And the goal is to bring that onto ICP and be used in caffeine AI applications. So this is how we can bridge communities together. And this is how we can really benefit ICP. And I think that's what's been missing, right? There's been this kind of like siloed ICP community that hasn't really expanded into other cultures or communities onto other blockchains. Well, that's exactly what this is avoiding. That's exactly what this is not doing. I could have launched a meme coin on ICP, but that would have just been absorbing the existing liquidity. We want to bring outside liquidity onto ICP. Already at $160,000 market cap, expected to go a lot higher, and the goal is to make it one of the biggest, if not the biggest meme coin on ICP. That is the goal. And so the reason why you can expect me not to sell mine is because Patreon members earn an allocation of these assets just for being signed up. So revenue is generated via my Patreon. That goes to buying back this token. Patreon members, as of right now, if you're signed up, if you're a paying member signed up as of 11/1/2025, then on 1/1/2026, you will earn 100,000 tokens. If you're a Patreon member and buy 1 million tokens, you will earn another 100,000 tokens. If you're a Patreon member and buy 10 million tokens, you will earn 1 million tokens. Currently, that's worth $160. You could also buy 100 million tokens and earn $1,600 on 1/1/26, and that number just keeps growing. So you're incentivized to buy. If you're a member of my Patreon, you're incentivized to buy up a whole bunch of these tokens because there's a passive income component, and you know that the revenues and the lack of insider selling are going to continuously add upward buying pressure. So that's the flywheel we've created. That's why the chart looks so good, and that is why we expect the chart to continue looking good. And we're creating, again, a massive meme coin on Solana, and the goal is to bring that onto ICP and benefit ICP. We want cycles burned on ICP, we want utility, we want deflationary tokenomics, and obviously we want total value locked on ICP. So that's the mission of the WAGMI token, bringing outside liquidity to ICP. Again, I am so incentivized by this because I have a massive bag of ICP. Locked. That's the beauty of having locked ICP tokens. You can't really access it, so you got to get creative. That's what we're doing with the early stage investor. That's what we're doing with WAGMI, the Solana meme token that continues to skyrocket. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. We're all going to make it together, especially ICP, right? So even without my project, ICP is going to pump based on what Raoul Pal is saying, based on where the money printing, based on where the debasement, based on where the liquidity is going. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. We got this.